Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we launch the Federal Innovation Through Prize Competitions webinar series today with our friends from the U.S. Department of Energy American-Made program.
My name is Kat Kemp. I'm a contractor with Challenge.gov. And to increase accessibility and inclusivity, I'll share a little bit about myself. I have a chin-length brown hair, and today I'm wearing a white blouse with a split neck. With me today are my Challenge.gov teammates, Jara Metter, the director of Challenge.gov at the General Services Administration, and my colleague and fellow contractors, Quinn Slayton, Phil Beloka, and Laura Barlow. Our special guests from the Department of Energy and the American-Made program are Anna Yee and Debbie Brotagiles. As we get started, we have a few meeting logistics. This event is being recorded. A link to live captioning for this event is provided in the chat, or you can turn on by clicking the CC button at the bottom of your screen. You're encouraged to ask questions by clicking on the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, or you can use the Zoom chat for any comments. By voluntarily attending this event, you agree to abide by the TTS Code of Conduct. A link to that Code of Conduct is provided in the chat. We ask that you please leave the meeting if you do not agree to abide by this Code of Conduct. And with that, thank you for joining us today. To get us started, I will hand it over to Jara Metter from Challenge.gov.
Thanks, Kat. And thanks to you all for joining us today. We're so excited to host an event like this that brings together members of the public as well as those from federal agencies across the government who are running prize competitions. I'm Jara Metter. I'm the director of Challenge.gov, a program here at the General Services Administration. I use she and her as my pronouns. I'm a woman with shoulder-length brown hair wearing glasses. And I'm joining you today from my home here in San Antonio, Texas, where it's beginning to look like fall. So today we're really excited to kick off this event with our partners from the Department of Energy. This event kind of exemplifies a four-part series where we'll be highlighting different federal agencies and focusing in on how they are using open innovation and prize competitions to drive innovation, solve important national problems, advance critical initiatives and technologies and innovation. And each session is going to highlight their different approaches and how they design, deliver, and scale prize competitions to advance the mission at their agency. Today, our guests from the Department of Energy are from the American-Made program, and they're going to discuss how prize competitions fit into their agency innovation strategy. And from this, other federal agencies can learn how to implement some of these strategies into their work. And the public participants for this webinar can get an understanding of how Department of Energy values open innovation and also how you can get involved and participate in these prize competitions. So to kick us off, I'd like to introduce the two speakers from Department of Energy. The first is Anna Yee. Anna is a contractor in the Water Power Technologies Office. This office enables research, development, and testing of emerging technologies to advance marine energy, as well as next-generation hydropower and pump storage systems for a flexible, reliable grid. She manages prize operations from scoping and development to implementation and analysis. Additionally, Anna's been a major leader in informing official prize guidance at DOE and often advises other offices on the topics of prize competitions. Also, a presenter for this webinar is Debbie Brotagiles. She's the program manager and strategic advisor for the National Renewable Energy Laboratories Joint Institute for Strategic Energy Analysis. She manages the American-Made program, a comprehensive prize program dedicated to advancing diverse and inclusive clean energy technology innovation, supported by a robust technical and business network of incubators, accelerators, national labs, and facilities. We're so excited to have these two presenters here today. And now I'll turn it over to you, Anna and Debbie, to kick us off.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome, and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar. I am going to focus my presentation on prizes and competitions from a Department of Energy perspective, and then we'll hand it over to Debbie, who would dive a little bit deeper into the American-made Challenges program. So on slide 2, just some lists of acronyms written into some of my presentation materials, but I will do my best to not use acronyms and define them as I go. So starting on slide 3, I will first be providing some context into the purpose of prizes within the Department of Energy, how we currently categorize them, and cover the participating offices that use prizes. On slide 4, I know there's a lot of text on this one, but key items here are DOE is authorized to run prizes under the Competes Act. We use prizes to incentivize scientific and technical innovation through cash awards and non-cash assistance. And since 2018, we've contracted with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, or NREL, through a management and operation contract to administer prizes. The prize administration team is what is called American-Made Challenges, or the American-Made program. On slide 5, this is our why. So why are we doing it? It's DOE's mission to ensure America's security and prosperity by addressing its energy, environmental, and nuclear challenges through transformative science and technology solutions. Prizes started under the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, or EERE, whose mission is to accelerate the research, development, demonstration, and deployment of technologies and solutions to equitably transition America to net zero greenhouse gas emissions economy-wide by no later than 2050, and to ensure the clean energy economy benefits all Americans, creating good-paying jobs for the American people, especially workers and communities impacted by the energy transition, and those historically underserved by the energy system and overburdened by pollution. So we've historically run prizes focusing on science and technology innovation in the field of clean energy, and that is certainly still true today. On the next slide, slide 6, depicts DOE's current organization chart. It's not a government presentation without an organization chart, right? So in this chart, we have the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy outlined in green, and then 6 other offices outlined in yellow. All these offices outlined leverage prizes. Like I mentioned a second ago, prizes started under the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, again, outlined in green, which includes offices under renewable power. So this is the solar office, the water office, geothermal, wind, energy efficiency, which includes buildings, advanced manufacturing and industrial, and sustainable transportation. Over time, other offices outside the Office of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, the ones outlined in yellow here, started running prizes as well due to the close alignment with the mission. These offices include the Office of Technology Transitions, the Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations, Fossil Energy and Carbon Management, Electricity, Cybersecurity, Energy Security, and Emergency Response, and the Office of Community Energy Programs. Slide 7 goes over what prizes offer competitors. This language is taken directly from Challenge.gov, so I'm perhaps not going to focus on it right now. But to the right is our current organization of prizes at the DOE, which are the technology prizes, entrepreneurial prizes, so thinking about business development, student and workforce prizes, community prizes. These are to support communities in their energy transitions. And we do have one other bucket that's becoming a little bit more popular, which is a photo and video contest or prize. Slide 8 is an example of a technology prize, which I've chosen here, the Solar Prize, which was DOE's first prize out of the Solar Office. It sought to identify, develop, and test solutions for the solar industry. And this prize has been repeated 8 times now to date. Pictured are the prize phases, which are named Ready, Set, Go. And additionally, a picture of some of the prize winners celebrating while holding some abnormally large checks, which we really enjoy giving out. On slide 7 or 9, you'll see the Power at Sea prize, which I would argue is a bit of an overlap between technology and entrepreneurial, since it is intended to allow competitors to work on their concepts, their business models, media, collateral, etc., to better position them for future technology development opportunities. Pictured is shown the prize hero image, and below that we have the structure of the prize, which is 2 phases called concept and development. On slide 10 is an overview of the collegiate competitions as an example of the student and workforce category. These were previously ran as competitions, different mechanism with more administration procedures. So in 2023, we started running them as prizes. Many of the offices within DOE run collegiate competitions to inspire multidisciplinary undergraduate and graduate students to enter the clean energy workforce. So pictured here, we have the hero image for the marine energy collegiate competition. And below is a photo of the 100 students who traveled out to DC in 2023 for their final event. On slide 11, we have an example of a community prize. I have here the Community Energy Innovation Prize. This prize encourages community-based organizations, the private sector, and non-federal government entities to build trust, strengthen relationships, and partnerships with underserved communities while advancing the clean energy transition. So pictured here, of course, is our hero image for that prize. And below that, we have another picture of some prize winners holding those big checks. On slide 12 is an example of that kind of photo video contest category that I was talking about. A few offices now have run similar competitions. So for the example here, we have the Make a Splash photo and video contest, seeking to document technologies, settings, and people within the water power space through photos and videos. So pictured here is our hero image for that prize. And then below that is actually one of the winners from the prize. There were so many to choose from. So I know the Water Power Office was really happy with the outcomes of that prize. Slide 13 brings us to our next section, which will be prizes versus other funding mechanisms. So on slide 14, you'll see a list of common funding mechanisms the Department of Energy uses, which ranges from foundational R&D at labs to cooperative agreements and grants. So as you move from top to bottom, that is maturity. It increases in maturity theoretically, and then it's also increasing in maturity depicted by the scale associated next to each funding mechanism. So on the bottom axis here, we have a scale that ranges from research to early deployment, to prototype, to pilot demonstration, to commercial demonstration, to market transformation. This diagram essentially shows the target development stage for each of those funding mechanisms. And by no means is this diagram perfect. I did not make it. There's definitely exceptions to the rule, if you will. So the second mechanism from the top is prizes, of course, which we are targeting early development through pilot demonstration. This mechanism has no cost share. So the point being, we use prizes, lower barrier to entry to get competitors through a pipeline of Department of Energy funding, which is depicted better in the next slide. On slide 15, we have that pipeline that goes from prizes to SBIR/STTR, which is the Small Business Innovation Research and Small Business Technology Grants, to cooperative agreements and grants at the end there. SBIR and STTR is administered through the Small Business Administration, so not through Department of Energy, but we do collaborate with them on topic areas. So those are three main buckets. And sorry, one more point there. In addition to the funding, many of the offices will have kind of technological and commercialization assistance and or support programs to help people along their journeys along this pathway. Next slide is the beginning of my final section, which is how Department of Energy leverages the national labs for prizes. So on slide 17, there's an image of the 17 national labs that the Department of Energy works with, which encompasses an array of science and technological expertise. Next slide, slide 18, focuses on NREL first. The diagram shows our management and operations contract with them. So we have the Department of Energy on top. We fund the American-Made program, which again is run through NREL. And then the American-Made program is then divided into cash prizes, a centralized national lab voucher program, which administers vouchers for some of those national labs, and then the American-Made network, which Debbie will go into in her presentation. And then on the next slide, this further explains kind of how Department of Energy works with the labs on prizes, which is, you could think about it being divided into inside the American-Made program and then outside the American-Made program. So internally, as I mentioned, we of course have the American-Made program with NREL administering prizes. And they can hand out both cash prizes and testing vouchers. Externally to the American-Made program, we have annual operating plans with various folks at various national labs to do all kinds of work. We can use an annual operating plan to get one of our national labs to support us on a prize, leveraging their kind of subject matter expertise. And then, of course, we can also, we often ask many of the folks at national labs to support on the reviews of prize submissions. And with that concludes my presentation. If you are interested in learning more about the Department of Energy and prizes, you're more than welcome to contact me or one of the committee members at the Department of Energy. And with that, I will pass the baton over to my colleague, Debbie, who will go into the American-Made program.
Great. Thank you so much, Anna. Thanks for that overview. I'm Debbie Bro-Giles. I guess to start with, I'll describe myself. I'm a woman that goes by the pronouns she and her. I have blonde, medium-length hair, and today I'm wearing a pink and white shirt, kind of trying to keep summer still alive, I think, with my pink flowers today. But I am the program manager for the American-Made program. So we'll go to the next slide. Thank you. So the American-Made program has been around now for almost 7 years. So back in 2018, we started with our first prize. But we really like to say that the American-Made program is your fast track to the clean energy revolution. Obviously, it's funded by the U.S. Department of Energy and all of the great people there that Anna was just talking about at the different offices. And really what this program is doing is incentivizing innovation through prizes and training and teaming and mentoring. And they're supported with a network along the way. Next slide. So we have some numbers here to share. So we are feeling like we're supercharging the revolution of bold ideas. And we've been doing this, like I said, for quite a while now. So we have more than 80 prizes that are under our belt now that are either active or ongoing. And we have $400 million in cash prizes and support that we have either given away or have planned to give away in our active prizes that are out there today. And then we have 450 network members that are there to support our competitors along the way. So they're not just there all by themselves doing their thing. They are supported along the way with technology and business help as well. Next slide. The American Made program offers really 4 different kind of pillars. Prizes is the foundation of the program. And then the network, like I said, really supports the innovators along the way. And then we also sometimes award vouchers. So some of the prizes get cash funding and some of them get cash plus vouchers to work with a national lab or other technology lab outside of the national lab system to do some work. And then training is along the way, right? So our network is there to help our teams be successful, and that includes all kinds of training as well. So we can go to the next slide. So we have more than 80 different prizes. This slide just shows a lot of different images from different prizes that we've done along the way. But what I really want to point out, and I think Anna pointed this out too, is that we have prizes of all sorts. We have the fun, simple photo contests. We have some very, very challenging technology contests. We have contests that are like focused on entrepreneurs, some that are focused on students, some that are focused on community building, right? So we even have some community focused prizes too. So it's really, and universities. I'm looking now at our HBCU Clean Energy Innovation Prize, and that was focused on HBCU universities. So we have prizes that come in all shapes and sizes and types, and that really just depends on what DOE is interested in trying to tackle in the different challenges. So we'll go to the next slide. So our team, I run the team that's at NREL, who supports this program, and our team really offers DOE a host of different things. So we work with them on the management of the prize and just make sure that the prize is running smoothly. We can help them with rules development. We can help with technical and business resources, webinars and training. We can help find judges. We provide the software platform that actually allows people to submit their ideas, and then the judging on the back end and the review process. And really what we're finding is that the folks that are coming in to participate in these prizes are really becoming kind of known now to DOE. They're proving themselves. And now we're helping to build a pipeline to other core funding at the Department of Energy. So some of these prize winners are going on to win SBIR awards and other FOA awards as well. We also manage demo days and pitch sessions and a lot of different things, but these are sort of the things that our team offers. So we'll go to the next slide. I like this image on this slide because it kind of shows the stair step of the different prize phases. Many times our prizes are phased. So sometimes, sure, we'll have a 1-phase or a 2-phase prize, but lots of times we like a 3-phase prize because what we like to do in the first phase is offer something pretty low barrier to entry. Like, tell us your plan, tell us your team, tell us what you want to do in the course of this prize, and we'll award you some sort of money. It could be a small amount like $10,000, or maybe something a little larger like $50,000. And then we can help that team get some money under their belt and then help them start to compete into phase 2. As they move through to phase 2, we're asking them to do a little bit more challenging things, a little bit, we're saying advance your idea, give us an MVP of some sort, build something, showcase something, develop a coalition, whatever that may be. We ask them to do a little bit more, and then they get a little bit more money. Maybe that next phase looks like $100,000. And then the last phase, we ask them to do something a little bit higher. It's a little bit tougher. But of course, if they are successful, then they have a chance to win the grand prize, which might be a much bigger amount of money. And it might be $500,000. Those examples I just used, by the way, are Solar Prize dollars. So in the very beginning of Solar Prize, the teams get $50,000. Then they work a little harder. They get $100,000 when they kind of show their prototype. And then for phase 3, they develop partnerships and customers, and that gets them potential to win the $500,000. Along the way, they're supported by a lot of different resources that are available in our network and also at the different national labs. So we'll go to the next slide. So the next slide really has some pictures here of some of our prize winners, as well as some of our connectors who are part of our network. But really what this slide is really showing is that these prizes are really making innovation a lot more fast and agile than it has been in the past. We are really trying to inspire the next generation of participants, and we are really expanding that participation to underserved and diverse communities. Some of our prizes are even focused on that. So they even have awards. The Solar Prize, for example, had a JEDI award that was focused on any innovation that would help an underserved community. And we also have power connectors at our fingertips. Those are, we'll talk about those too, but those are people that are under contract to NREL, and they help us with recruitment of these prizes. So in some cases, we say, DOE, do you know who kind of this audience is that you want to reach? And sometimes they say, sure, we do know. Sometimes they say, no, we don't know. And we want as many new players into this field as possible. So then we use our power connector and our contractors to go out there and really cast a wide net and try to bring in some new competitors that we've never worked with before. And we've been really successful in that. And we're really proud of kind of broadening the players that are wanting to work with DOE, and then like developing that pipeline like I talked about. And so, yeah, we'll go to the next slide. This is just an example. I wanted to show a couple examples of some of the teams that are doing really amazing work. So this team is the Missoula Clean Energy Workforce Coalition. They were part of the Community Clean Energy Coalition Prize that happened in 2023. And basically, they were developing a local workforce development program that was aiming to help Indigenous and low-income women get into the clean energy workforce. So this was a really great team, and they won cash prizes worth $230,000 for their work. The next slide will show another team. This team is one of our Solar Prize teams. They're named Watch. They were a young team that had just recently graduated college. And through the course of the Solar Prize, they won $650,000 in prizes. They also won vouchers to work at our national labs. And then after the Solar Prize, because of winning and because of that success, they raised $300 million additional funds. Obviously needed to hire people, so they hired 10 new employees, and now they have more than 1,000 renewable energy projects in 22 states. So just an example of a technology prize, and then also a community building type prize winner. Next slide. Speaking of the network, this wonderful network that we do have a network summit event. We have an annual event every year, and that's what this is. We also do regional events. So, but this one is our annual one. It's going to happen October 22 and 23. It's coming right up. So, but if you're in the Tulsa or Oklahoma area or can get there during this time, we would love to have you. This is really wide open to anyone from the public or other agencies that would like to participate. And the link is right there at the bottom. Next slide. So I talked a little bit about vouchers, and you might be like, well, what is a voucher to work at another lab? But what it really does is it kind of helps to open the doors to our national labs so that these innovators can come in and get their technologies advanced in some way or tested in some way, or maybe they need some analysis done or something like that. So our national labs are here to help. We can actually do a voucher with any of our 17 national labs. There are certain labs that we work very, very closely with. Sandia and PNNL are just two of our example labs that we work with very closely on the solar side. But basically, it's fair game to open it up to all 17 national labs. And what it really helps do, we hope, is to speed innovation and give people access to the world-class facilities that are at the national labs that really would be hard to get if you didn't come through a prize. So the next slide, I believe, shows our numbers. So this is, we've done more than 180 total vouchers so far. More than 15 of our prizes have been supporting these vouchers. And the value of these vouchers have been about $13 million. So that's really incredible that these innovators have had a chance to use that $13 million to work at a national lab and advance their technology. So we'll go to the next slide. And I think this slide talks about our open voucher call. So this is just an image of our hero image. But this is an open call opportunity right now. So anybody out there with any good idea or any technology that you want to engage with a national lab on, you can do this right now. So you don't even have to win a prize first. This is a really new opportunity. So you could just put in your technology and tell us how you would like to work with a national lab. And potentially you could win $100,000 worth of a voucher to work at one of these 8 national labs that's identified. So October 3rd is the due date. So if you're interested in that, please, let us know by applying. Next slide. This is just our network slide, kind of showing where our power connectors and our network support is across the US. Like I said, there's more than 450 organizations, and we have folks in here that are like accelerators and incubators, but also academic institutions. Our 17 national labs are in there, and then tons of corporate partners, funders, and technology experts as well. Next slide. Our American-made network also helps with a ton on our prize front, because they help with recruitment. Like I said, they're bringing in the new people that want to work with us, hopefully. They're helping to mentor. They're helping to look at these submissions and kind of help guide some of the teams and improve them. They're helping with teaming. If a team doesn't have a certain element to their team, they can help make connections there. They can do technical support and much more. So we love our network providers. Next slide. This is what our power connector network looks like. So what I said, that we have some organizations under contract to work with us. This is what that group looks like. And we love to work with these organizations to try to help spread the word about our prizes. Sometimes they'll help us with our events. They're really invaluable to our program. Next slide. Okay, so we're going into many of our open prizes. So we'll go to the next slide. And I will share with you some of our open prizes, but you will find all of them on this website. So it's Challenges.gov, and you could go there now and you could look and follow any of these, but I'm going to highlight some of them as we go here. Also on that main page, there's also a network newsletter, so you could follow that, and I would recommend that you do that, because then you can see all of the new prizes that are coming when they're announced, because they do come out very often. So we'll go to the next slide and we'll just kind of go through these quickly. But we do have a contract readiness prize, which is really great. It's specifically focused to help MSIs, or minority serving institutions, get ready to have a contract with the Department of Energy. So it's kind of a small prize pool, but is really, really important to try to help this MSI community get access to these new opportunities for contracts. So we'll go to the next slide. The Solar Prize Round 8, I do want to pitch. It's available till September 26th. And you may say, oh my gosh, that's just around the corner. But you definitely have time to apply for this. So any good idea you have in solar, please take a look at these rules and take a look at the submission and submit before September 26th. It's a great opportunity. In fact, last week I was at RE Plus, and I just gave away 2 prize winners from round 7, each won $500,000. Big checks just like this were given last week. So it's really amazing to see the progress the teams make. So we hope that people will want to join for round 8. Next slide. We have this one I'm really excited about, because this is a Good Jobs and Clean Energy Prize. So this one is really focused on trying to increase jobs and the workforce for clean energy. And this one you have plenty of time. So submissions are due in January 31 of 2025. So you have plenty of time to build kind of this coalition related to this. They're looking for all 5 of these organizations to be part of the coalition. So it's a kind of a heavy lift, but a really impactful prize. Okay, next slide. This is a geothermal collegiate competition. So if we have any college students out there, please take a look at this one. It's due in December. The next slide, please, is the L Prize. So this is a lighting prize, and this is open to some new competitors. It's also a very technical prize. So if you're in the lighting industry, this one's for you. Submissions are due in October. Next slide is the Energy and Food Sovereignty Nexus Prize. This one is really focused on tribal colleges and universities, or TCUs. So I'm also really excited about this one, because this allows TCUs to implement some sort of energy and food type of project on their campus. So it could look like greenhouses or agrivoltaics or things like that. And these submissions are due in November. Next slide. We have a very big one. This is the Commercial Direct Air Capture Pilot Prize. So we have several direct air capture prizes that are coming out of the FECM office, or the Fossil Energy and Carbon Management Office. This one has a total prize pool of $52.5 million. So it's a lot of money, but it's also a very, very difficult problem to solve, carbon capture. So if you know anybody in the carbon capture area, please forward this prize to them, and submissions are due in February. Next slide. We have a REX Recycling Prize. Submissions are due October 22nd. Next slide. The Science Synthesis Prize. So this one is for graduate students and industry partners and other key stakeholders. Submissions are due in November. And then next slide. Yep. Okay. Those are all of our open ones right now. But like I said, please join our newsletter so you can always see what else is coming. But really, you might want to say, how do I get involved at this point, right? Like, I hear you, all these prizes sound great, but how do I get involved in this? So first, if you ever want to reach out, my contact information is right there, so you can email me directly. Please subscribe to our newsletter, like I mentioned. And then also for the government and agencies that are out there, we would love to do a co-branded prize with you. So I think the Department of Energy is wide open to exploring opportunities with working with any other agency and doing a co-branded prize. So we are really excited about that. So if you want to kind of get in and dabble with something, we're happy to talk about that and kind of see where that conversation goes. For the general public, you can participate in, any of these prizes. So please take a look. Don't count yourself out right away. Please just we remember that we want new players that have never worked with DOE before. So please take a look at what prizes are available. And also, you may want to join the network, because we have network members that are mentors, and they help people with their submissions or their technologies. So there's two opportunities there. And then for investors, funders, and sponsors, we would love to do a co-branded prize with you. We would also love for you to join our network and support the groundbreaking teams that are in there. So as a funder or investor, you could be part of our network, and then you could have, a first look at all of the new teams that are coming through. And then you can always also help participate as a judge or a reviewer for our prizes. So if you are an industry expert, we would love to hear from you as well. So next slide, I think it might be the end of the presentation. Perfect. So thank you for your time. And I think Anna and I are open for questions.
Thanks so much. Round of applause for you both. This has been amazing. Looking at the participant list of members of the public and the government that have joined, we see members of the open government community in the public. We see other innovation leaders from across federal agencies, some from NASA, who will be presenting soon in a follow-on webinar. We're seeing lots of great questions coming through the Q&A function here with this tool. But I have a couple of questions that I want to pose to you both before we kick it over to Kat, who will go through the questions that we've received from participants. You both talked about kind of the innovation sort of focus of prize competitions. Debbie, you gave kind of a great overview of the current open prize competitions. Science, technology, innovation definitely is a theme throughout the different prize competitions that you've offered up. How would you say that prize competitions, or the prize mechanism, fits into the overall DOE innovation strategy?
Yeah, so I could kick us off here. So prizes are critical. We use them to advance our science and technology innovation. And that's evolved over time, and out of the need for our priority on advancing clean energy and the urgency that comes with all that. And not only are we targeting kind of innovators, I saw somebody in the Q&A was, what if I'm not an engineer? whether like we certainly use prizes to target anyone and everyone. We need more people within this field. So whether you're an engineer, an entrepreneur, working on technology development, whether you're a student interested in pursuing higher education pathways or a career pathway within clean energy, we need you. If you're a community leader or an innovation cluster, we have prizes that you can take advantage of.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I'll just add to that real quickly. And I said this before, but it really does, prizes offer a very low barrier to entry. So, especially for those people that have never worked with DOE before, they might think it's really hard and daunting and they don't know where to start. And I think prizes are a really critical place where people can get in and try something out. It's like a low barrier to entry. Some of the prize awards are smaller, which is great because then DOE looks at that like it's like not very risky, right? Like, let's give them a small amount of money and see what they could do with it. And I know DOE has been pleasantly surprised with some of the competitors where they've given them a little bit of seed money through a prize, and then they just accelerated throughout the prize and they've been really happy with the results. And then maybe they've even gone on to get an SBIR or other things at the Department of Energy.
That's great. That's amazing. And Anna, in one of your slides, you showed the org chart, which I appreciate. That always helps us in federal government kind of center around how innovation fits into your organization. But you also showed a slide that showed the kind of distributed federated sense of Department of Energy across, I think, 17 different national labs. How has and DOE, I should say for everyone here, is very fascinating because your model for running prize competitions is pretty unique in the federal government. But how has working with the different national labs informed your prize strategy?
Yeah, so I will say we are very fortunate as an agency to be the overseer of the lab, the 17 national labs that was listed on that one slide. And we labs can't participate, like they can't compete for prize funding. But we, of course, wanted to leverage their kind of expertise in any way possible. And so that's where we partner with a lot of them within kind of prize development to offer their subject matter expertise or be a reviewer and offer competitors feedback on their ideas. And then, of course, providing prizes, like opportunities to come and test at the various facilities that we have.
Yeah, and Debbie, in one of your remarks, you mentioned about how prize competitions really do open up this low barrier to participation, as compared to some of the other funding mechanisms that you showed. And I screenshotted a couple of your slides because they're so great about SBIR, STTR, and kind of that pipeline. What have you learned about the innovators who are participating in your competitions? Who are they and why are they choosing to participate in prize competitions?
Yeah, they're all amazing in their own way. And these prizes are all over the board, right? Like, so we're talking to students sometimes, we're talking to technology leaders sometimes, and everything in between. And it's been really interesting because a lot of times some of our best prize leads are coming back again. Like, even a solar competitor may participate in the solar prize, but then they may be like, hey, I think my technology, or I could bring in another expert and maybe we could do something for another prize, like a wind prize or a geothermal prize or something, right? So we have seen that some of our prize competitors have tried numerous prize avenues, and sometimes they're successful doing that. So or if they didn't, the other great thing I would say is that sometimes they may compete and they don't win the first time, but they do typically, we give comments for once we give we say, sorry, you didn't win. We also give you comments. Hopefully you can improve your idea. And many of those winners or people take it to heart, and then they come back the next time and they kind of resubmit. and then maybe they are successful. So we've seen lots of people who maybe didn't win right at first, and then they came back again. And in that vein, I'll just mention another thing. Solar Prize this year started a Power Up Prize, which is kind of fun because there were several of those kinds of teams that we kept seeing, and we're like, well, they're really good. We really like this team, but they're not quite ready to win yet and get into the Solar Prize pipeline. So we gave them a Power Up prize, which was a little bit of cash, but also a lot of mentoring with our network. And then now that is hopefully going to help them kind of accelerate their idea. And so next year they're going to be ready to win, hopefully, Solar Prize.
That's amazing. And I'm going to ask one last question because I always like to, at least in my part about talking about the future. And then I'll hand it over to my colleague, Kat, who you all met earlier, who'll take us through some questions that we've received from the audience. So, it's hard to imagine what else you could add to American Made because you all have a network, you have accelerators, you have, this vouchers, you really are so thoughtful in your approach for encouraging innovation, engaging the public, and then accelerating innovation along the pipeline. But what's next? You have infrastructure through AmericanMade Challenges.org, you have a platform side, and then you have the program side. What do y'all have in the hopper that we haven't seen yet, but you're going to roll out in the next year?
Good question. Well, there's always prizes, more and more prizes. So DOE never short on great ideas. So they usually pick up the phone and say, hey, I have a great idea for another prize. So we love that when that happens. But I would say, yes, our network looks great, right? We have 450 organizations that are there. But in my mind, I'd like everybody to be more engaged. If you can imagine, we don't have 450 fully engaged network providers, right? We have a good, let's say, good 75 of them are really solid, really helping teams on a daily basis. And I would really like to kind of extend the opportunity to be more engaged in the prizes. So there's opportunities for our network, by the way, to win money too. So a lot of times when a network provider helps a team win, they get money too. So they get a little kickback for that. So there's a lot of opportunities for that. So I think kind of increasing engagement in general. I'd also like to increase funding opportunities for our teams. So I talked about funders and investors, but to get more funders and investors in on the ground level with us, I think would be really important because then we have, a place for them to go directly after they win a prize, right? Once they win, I'd love to find funding for them immediately, right? Or help them do that. And then we also talk about our alumni network. So now that we've been around for a while, we have a lot of really amazing alumni, and some of them are really great mentors to our teams. And so I'd love to see that alumni network grow too.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Anna. Thanks, Debbie. I'm going to hand it over to Kat.
Wonderful. I also want to thank you, Debbie and Anna, and thank you, Jara, for your thoughtful questions. And thank you to the audience. There are just so many great questions coming in through the Q&A function. Debbie and Anna have responded to a few of them. So if you pop over to the Answered tab, you can see a few of those answered questions. But there are a few more that in the few minutes that I have here that I want to pose to the group. So we did have a question that came through at the Q&A about the obstacles or pain points. So I just open the floor to both Anna and Debbie from your different perspectives. What are some of the obstacles or pain points with the prize model? And I think you can think of that both as from a federal agency perspective, as well as from what you've spoken to with public solvers perspective.
Yeah, I would say the main one is speed. Prizes are designed to be fast. They are small dollar amounts, and there's a lot of back end work on the agency side that goes into them. So a lot of times agencies are like, we'll run a prize because it's easy, right? No, it is a lot of thought and work goes into the development of prizes so that the competitors receive that low barrier to entry and are able to get the funds fast. So I would say that's the main pain point. That's definitely shouldn't be a deterrent for any agency considering prizes. I work on prizes full time. I love it. They are an absolutely valuable tool in what we do. So
I think that's a
Debbie,
good answer. And then on my end, being the administrator of these prizes, it's really scaling, right? Like if one day Anna came to me and said, I want to run 10 prizes this month, then it's hard to kind of scale. So that I would agree with the timing and the speed sometimes can be tricky, but our team is pretty big now. We have around, I'd say 35 people that are working on prizes every day, all day. And then we have a ton of extra support as well. So that helps. And then I'd say on the competitor side, the interesting thing about prizes is that they have to do work before we award them a prize, right? So that's why we try to make the first phase very low barrier to entry, like do something pretty small so that you can get some money so that you can continue to work. But I think for some people that can feel daunting, like, what do you mean I have to do something kind of for free and I don't know if I'm going to win? But then once they win, then they're kind of off to the races and they have the funding that they need to get through the other phases.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's another question came through at the Q&A about the audience of potential solvers. And the question reads, many of the challenges are oriented toward science or engineering communities. I know you also have a number of collegiate prizes that you talked about. Are there any that are open to younger students? Specifically, the question asks, how can we get the high school CTE and innovation centers involved in challenges? And are there any to tap into this very creative young innovators?
That's awesome. That's a great question. We have had high school students apply for some of our prizes. To be honest, they haven't made it all the way through, probably because they needed that kind of a power up support, right? But that's a great question. I mean, a lot of our prizes are focused on kind of more advanced folks, but we also have prizes that are focused on community building and some kind of coalition building. And I think anyone can get involved in that. Also the photo competitions, that's a nice, quick, easy way for a student to get involved, a younger student. And then I know we did have an HBCU prize that was focused on younger students. That was so kind of a summer school kind of program for middle school type kids, but the money didn't go to the kids. It went to the HBCU that was supporting that. But it's a good question and we should probably think about that.
Make sure, Anna, if you have anything to add.
Yeah, no, I love the idea. I love where this person's head's at. If there's an opportunity out there, especially amongst the community prizes, definitely put that in front of your teachers, your administrators. We certainly have funded K through 12 programs through prizes.
Another question about past examples of prizes or perhaps things that could be on the horizon. Are any prizes offered more specifically to support developing clean energy technologies for agriculture? Or is that more part of USDA? Anything that would apply to the agriculture field?
Yeah, I think we have one prize that is agriculture related. Maybe Debbie, you know more information off the top of your head about that one.
Maybe you're thinking of the new Lasso Prize. We have a
Yeah.
Lasso Prize, which is focused on landowners who have cattle on their land and are wanting to put solar on their land. That would be solar that cattle could roam around and be safe with. So there is something called a Lasso Prize. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it wasn't in my slides because it just launched like last Monday. So I think I needed to give you guys my slides before then. So that's why it's not in there. But there is a Lasso Prize and it has a cow on it. So if you go to the website, you'll see that one pretty easily. There also the Tribal College and University Prize I mentioned, that was definitely focused on food sovereignty. But I would love to see like an agrovoltaics prize. We just need somebody at DOE to fund that one.
Now, echo Debbie's comment earlier. If there are other agencies that want to collaborate with the Department of Energy on those cross-cutting areas, we're certainly open to collaborating. And I'll also plug, in addition to the American Made Challenges, where you can go to see open prizes, Challenge.gov has open prizes across all federal agencies.
Yeah, thank you, Anna. And I love that name, the Lasso Prize. Also, Anna, I was going right where you were about partnering at other agencies. Some of our Fed participants and a couple of different times have asked variations on opportunities to partner or being able to co-brand challenges. What would be the best next step for anyone listening or attending this webinar to be able to engage with either or both of you?
Yeah, if they're at a agency, you can certainly reach out to the steering committee. If you're a competitor, I would say get involved with the network. Sometimes DOE issues RFIs that help inform certain solicitations. So definitely keep tabs on all those opportunities.
Yep, they could reach out directly too, and we can brainstorm some ideas.
Excellent. And with some of those brainstorms and ideas, the last question that I'll ask it came through at registration. How could someone suggest an idea for a possible DOE Challenger Prize into the future?
That's a great idea. They can also reach out both to me or Anna. Most of the time, I could always pitch an idea back to DOE or the community of practice. DOE has what they call a community of practice inside of DOE, where they can all talk about prizes together or talk about issues that have come up or new ideas. So yeah, if you could get an idea to Anna or myself, we could bring it to that community, and then maybe that community can brainstorm how it could get funded.
Wonderful. And we have just a couple more questions. Questions are still coming in. So reviewing the Q&A box. When you have that structure and that phased approach and sort of a very low barrier of entry, is there any opportunity for submitters to get in contact with the prize managers to share an overview of ideas to see if they're on the right track, or just encouraged to apply and see what happens?
Well, that's why we have our power connectors. So for each prize, we usually have a power connector, or 2 or 3 even, that are assigned to a prize. And they are there to kind of help the competitors come up with ideas, get teaming if and connections if they need that, or review their submissions or whatever they need. So DOE and NREL kind of stay out of that because we're administering the prize, but we do have our network and our power connectors that are there to help the team succeed.
Well, we are coming to the end of our time. I just want to say thank you to Debbie and Anna, and thank you for all the work of your colleagues across DOE and the national labs for creating this infrastructure and this amazing community to be able to solve some really important problems facing our nation and our world. As Jara mentioned, this is the first of a 4-part series for focusing on federal innovation through prize competitions. We will reconvene on October 9th and get a deep dive into National Institutes of Health and their prize competition strategy and examples. Then in November, we'll hear from USAID, U.S. Agency for International Development. And then in December, our colleagues at NASA will join us. The link to the registration for this webinar series is posted in the chat. We are also have a number of links coming through the chat. Encourage you to sign up for the Challenge.gov public newsletter to learn more about these events. Also, go and check out Challenge.gov. If you are a member of the public, you can sign up for a Solver account to follow challenges you may be interested in, including many of the American Made challenges. We're also including a link in the chat for event survey. So give us feedback, tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, how we can improve. And we hope that you will see us again, and that we'll see you again on October 9th, talking with National Institutes of Health. Thank you all very much.